All right, so if you ever wanted to see number one versus number one, you've got it this week. Tennessee and Georgia. Number one versus number two is abnormally rare in college football. I believe there have been six this century in the regular season. Two of them were LSU, Alabama, one Ohio State, Texas in 2006, Ohio State, Michigan in 2006. So there's just not been many of them along the way. We get that this weekend in Tennessee and Georgia, a colossal matchup that's going to be on CBS at 3:30 Saturday. I've got the dogs in this game. There's a couple of reasons why, and I'm going to go through them real quick. The number one thing that Tennessee does, the reason why I've got the dogs might not be the reason why a lot of other people got it, but one thing about our relationship, y'all and us, is that we try to explain to you the reasons why we do things, generally speaking. And what I would say to you is this: my suspicion is that Georgia will slow Tennessee's game down more than other teams have. And that is going to be the catalyst to Georgia winning the game. Tennessee is really good running the football. That is massively glossed over by everybody. And if you're going to stop them and win, you'd better do it with your defensive front. Now, Georgia doesn't exactly get run on a ton. It happens, but it's not a common thing for them in their defense. I also, think the crowd is gonna matter a lot, and this is going out on a Friday night, but the crowd is gonna matter a lot, and you know when when you look at um when you look at the situation of teams coming into Athens to play, it's tough to come in and play and win in Athens. The last top, so Georgia is 8-1 against ranked teams since Kirby Smart's taken over as the head coach at Georgia in Sanford Stadium. They are we don't know exactly where this line is going to wind up, but anywhere from 7 to 10. The only games they've lost in terms of point spread in that time were on the road. Georgia's typically not um, Georgia's typically not favored at this number in Sanford Stadium. So that tells you sort of, in my view, how good Tennessee is. But when you look statistically, not just in 2021, the national championship season, but this season, the most yardage that we've seen from any team was Oregon with 140 yards on 31 attempts. There's nothing wrong with going to 4.5 yards a carry. A lot of that was in the second half for the Ducks, but that is my explanation as to why this is going to be challenging for Tennessee. You know, only three teams this season have gotten over 100 yards against Georgia rushing the ball: Oregon, Missouri, and Florida. I misspoke. Only two teams have gotten over 100. That's Missouri and Oregon. Missouri at 102, and the Gators at 100. So Auburn runs something in this universe of an offense. They had 92 yards rushing. Obviously, Oregon does. They had 140. I think that Georgia's probably stops the run, and when they do, that's going to be challenging for the Vols to keep that going and win. That's my take because they ran all over LSU. Real quick, if you like this shirt, if you're in Athens, the way to get it this weekend is to go get Dark Struction at Red Zone, our friends in Athens on Clayton Street downtown. Go. It's going to be, crowded, but this is the time to get it. You can get it on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, whatever. But go and get it this weekend while supplies last. It's going to run out. Don't forget our event at Red Zone with Kelee Ringo, this guy right here, he will have his hands full on Saturday, I can assure you. The details for our event are down low below. You can also get the directions to Red Zone. Take advantage of this while we have the tickets remaining. Okay, at that event for Keely, you get a book, as well as, your ability to sign any one item that you want. If you want to, there is a limit, but if you want to bring other things for him to sign, you can pay a little bit more and get those signed as well. Come meet Kelee Ringo, November 20th. This is in the early evening at Red Zone in Athens. And Keelee's going to have to play well because Tennessee is going to try to shock you with big plays. But again, y'all, it's really set up by the Vols' ability to uh, to to run the football. If you're, it's hard. Folks always want to talk about particular narratives, but if you don't, you know, if you this is the game. It is. I mean, I don't know that it's always been this way with Tennessee and Georgia. It's been this way a lot with Tennessee and Georgia, which is that if you run it, you're gonna win. Well, guess which team was the one game that Tennessee really had a hard time running? Pitt. I mean, they didn't even get 100 yards rushing. So you can do it. And Pittsburgh is not exactly a world beater when it comes to the world of college football. They have tendencies of being good. They had a decent defense in the past, but whereas Georgia is giving up 85 yards a game, Pittsburgh is giving up 120. So Pitt is pretty good in the run game. They're not. It's not. They're the upper 20ish percent. But when we say nobody's seen XYZ like when they see Tennessee's offense or Georgia's defense. I'm just looking very quickly here. Um, Georgia will have to really fight against Tennessee to run the ball too. The Vols don't allow 100 yards a game. So Georgia's number 5 in run defense. The Vols are at 9. Tennessee saw Alabama and they ran on Alabama. Alabama is number 12. They had 182 yards against Alabama rushing. Uh, when you go back and look at, I mean, Georgia ran all over Oregon, but Oregon only allows 108. When you look at these other games, so you know, Tennessee has seen this before because they've played Pittsburgh and Alabama. Now, the other teams that Tennessee's gone up against in the run game, no, they're not as good as Georgia. They're not as good as these other folks. I mean, they're just not. I mean, but they're really good at this. Now, they made the Gators pay 228 yards. LSU they ran for 263 yards. Alabama 182. I mean, run for 177 against Kentucky. Last year Georgia ran on Kentucky. They did. Okay, but uh, you know this is going to be the game. Tennessee's really good at getting turnovers too. But I know that, and we write about this in Final Feelings and stuff like that, Legacy Thoughts. I'm just going to be transparent here. I do not think that ranking Tennessee number 1 in the college football playoff is some sort of crazy thing. If you've got Tennessee as defeating 2 top 10 teams, no one has those wins. I mean, no one has a pair of wins over a top 10 team. Somebody could this on Saturday night, or someone could have 3. Now, if Georgia has 2 top 10 wins, one of them over Tennessee and one of them over Oregon, and those are those teams' only losses, I mean, it would, quite obviously the winner of this game is going to be ranked number 1. Why do I think Georgia will win? I think they will stop the run against Tennessee for the most part to where it will not be comfortable for the Vols. I do not think it will be like last season. Last season, Georgia 250-ish yards rushing against Tennessee's 55. If you're watching the scoreboard and Tennessee's got about 60 yards rushing at the half, Georgia's doing their job. Okay, it may be that if they've got about 80, they're doing their job. If they got like 120, you're in for a shootout. It is a 3-ring circus. It is a running team that is shown as a 3-ring circus. There's reasons why people get confused that they think Tennessee is good at a particular thing. They're really good at running the ball. Anybody that's running for 200 plus yards multiple times in an SEC football game. Florida, LSU. Well, those are the two for Tennessee. Anybody that's doing that in SEC football games, they're getting the job done. Georgia, South Carolina, Auburn, Florida, and I mean, I'm just going to say Vanderbilt because it's so. We're going to see good on good. Tennessee, don't don't the sparkles are out there. They can do that stuff. They're good at it. But if you do not stop the run, then that's when they start taking shots. If you're sitting there in second and three, they got the ability for a free play on second and three. That's when they're going to do their damage. They go fast. They try to make you tired. There's a lot of stuff that they do. It's not anything Georgia's never seen before. They saw it last year. They see it with Auburn sometimes. They're used to this. It's just that Tennessee's really good at it. And they have a capable quarterback who's not an idiot. And not just that, he's an exceptionally good player. Older, mature. He's only had one interception this season with 20 something touchdowns. Hendon Hooker's really good. I mean, I'm a Heisman voter. He's definitely in my top two. Okay. So I think for Georgia, you've got to stop the run. If you do that, it's really hard to throw the ball the whole game and win. You know, we saw last year with Alabama against Georgia in the championship game, they couldn't do it. You saw last year with Georgia in the SEC championship game against Alabama, they couldn't do it. So this is about the big guys. It's not good that Nolan Smith is gone. It is good that Jalen Carter's back. It is good that it looks like Kendall Milton will come back. You need all of your fighters for this game. It's going to be very challenging for Tennessee to win this game. I've got the Dogs in a tight one. We'll see you in Sanford Stadium.